let me get your opinion. Well, we're going to listen to this video and we'll talk about it after. But do you think that ghetto black culture is ruining black culture? And I think based on the title, how she titled, I haven't watched this, but I can't wait to see it because I can get my opinion on that. Ghetto black culture affecting black culture. Those are two different cultures. You know that? That's two different cultures, two different earth. Mm-hmm. So let's watch this clip and then we're going to talk about it after. Ghetto black culture is affecting good black culture.
Let me hear this.
Little 2 cents that nobody asked for. I am sick of seeing Black Americans in the media, on social media, in the news, doing crime, walking around next to naked, the women, the men perpetuating gang violence, substance abuse. The absolute worst of our community is oversaturating the media, even though they make up a small percentage of all of Black Americans. The decay of our morality within Black communities has been slowly declining over the past 20 years.
Yeah.
And no one is talking about it. No one is saying anything about it or trying to address it. And if you do, you are often told that you're policing Black bodies. Yeah. If you say Black women, stop getting on the internet and in the media, twerking, walking around with little clothes on. People tell you that you're policing bodies, policing Black bodies, or it's respectability politics. If you are Black and you speak your piece on what we're seeing in the media, if you don't like seeing the low morality that is often portrayed about the Black community in the media, from the trap music to the Black women twerking in music videos and all over social media, the Sukihanas and the Sexy Reds of the world. If you are Black and you take issue with it and you talk about it, you are usually called bourgeois, sedity, uppity, it's respectability.
And it's funny, those women that she named, they really changed the game on culture. They made culture go from, culture music wise, hood in it, to culture, hood, disgusting, low class, looking ridiculous and nasty. So let's play this.
She's got points.
Politics, you're policing Black bodies and the like. And it's like, no, I'm Black too. And as such, this being my ethnic culture as well, I have a right to have something to say about what I'm seeing going on. Your average Black American is a middle class, working class, blue collar Jane and Joe. The ghetto subculture, Black ghetto subculture that we see often portrayed and over inundated and oversaturating the media, those Black Americans make up a tiny, tiny percentage of Black Americans.
They do, and that's true.
But somehow they're in the media,
they're prominent
in the media, oversaturating the media. I know I don't just speak for myself when I say that I'm sick of seeing it, that it's gross, that it is destroying what Black culture actually is. It's co-opting Black culture as a whole and making it seem as though all of Black culture is ghetto subculture. I'm not the only Black American who takes issue with it. Because like I said, majority of Black America is middle class, not in the ghettos, not out here perpetuating gang violence, promiscuity, and everything else. And I don't care if you claim it's respectability politics. I guess so be it. Because this is gross. It's getting really gross out here how blatantly disrespectful and low class we're acting on social media and in the media, on the internet, on TV. And you can claim that this is someone else's set of moral standards, but no, it isn't. It isn't. Look at Black America in the 50s.
But she's absolutely right.
Right.
Listen, babe, the culture that are being shown the most are the ones that are really acting out. Well, first of all, gatekeepers, the head elites people want these people out because they want to make it look like this is our culture. Mm-hmm. This is a very small culture. This is almost like a small culture. That's like how the KKK is a tiny dot compared in the white culture. Mm-hmm. That's just like how the hood, this super ghetto stuff has come out, has blown up, look like the big, but this is a very remote, very, very small group that being portrayed and making look black culture look bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree.
60s, our moral standards back then drastically different from what we have today, or what we're convincing ourselves is a moral standard today. Every racial group on the face of the planet has their own ghetto subculture within their respective racial and ethnic groups. This is the case for everybody, everywhere. White people, Asian people, Mexican people, you name it. The difference is that those racial groups and those ethnic groups do not allow their ghetto subculture to co-opt the entire culture as a whole.
True.
And to represent the entire culture as a
True.
whole. Don't
Amen.
allow it.
Okay.
Everybody else within that respective ethnic group or cultural group or racial group has a right to say how they want to see themselves represented in the media, what they want to see and what they don't want to see, who gets to speak for them and who does not. Except for when you're a Black American and you have something to say about the way that you see Black Americans being portrayed in the media and you have a critique for your peers. You can't do it because it's respectability politics if you attempt to do it. Or you're judging your peers by a set of moral standards that somebody else created, which is a farce. From the Reconstruction era down through the 60s, Black Americans had their own set of moral standards and social protocols that we adhered to. Ask your grannies, ask your great grannies,
That's
they'll tell
right.
you. I have had just about enough of seeing Black culture being drugged through the muck by other Black Americans who are perverting it and turning Black culture, something that is beautiful, into something perverse. Showing their ass on the internet all the time. The men are constantly rapping and talking about gang violence. Our children are uneducated and stupid. We've created a cultural standard of promiscuity and single motherhood. And when a Black American goes to critique and judge our peers, our fellow Black Americans, and critique the condition of our neighborhoods today, they're shut down. That's respectability politics. You're policing Black Americans. If that's what it is, so be it. So be it. It needs to be said. And in order for us to attempt to escape accountability or responsibility on our own part, we claim that the conditions that we see in Black communities is being caused by somebody else. It's not our own fault. It's white people and it's structural racism or something or another. It's everybody else's fault except for our own.
Right.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
It's pitiful. It's pitiful.
I
that
agree.
We refuse to take accountability for the things that we see going on in our communities. And sure, we can acknowledge that structural racism and the history of slavery in this country and discrimination and Jim Crow and Black codes and all of that has played a part in the conditions and some of the conditions that we see in Black communities.
True.
But we also have to be responsible for the ways in which Black Americans create their own
Exactly.
conditions and contribute to the
Because the thing is, if all right, racism, slavery did have its particular part, but it's our fault to continue carrying on and continue to look a certain way and to act a certain way.
Yeah.
That's only on us. That ain't got nothing to do with slavery. That's something that we decide to keep and want and gravitate to.
So I'll talk about that part at the end.
generative effects that we see going on in our communities. Black Americans who don't want to hear that immediately run to innocence. They rush to innocence. They claim that it's respectability politics to call out these issues in our community. They claim that it's policing Black bodies to call out the low morality and the moral decay in our community. Call it whatever you want. You're not going to get me to shut up about it. I'm Black. This is my culture too. I have a right to talk about and critique what is happening in my culture and have something to say about it. That's all.
Well, I like it. I like it. And the thing is, okay, so yes, slavery did play a part in the mindset and the framing of, our mindsets initially. But this is 2024. I don't feel like you can continue to blame the trickle-down effect on that because after slavery, and Blacks were technically non-slaves anymore, but they still weren't technically free because you still had racism and the KKK and all of that stuff going on, especially in the southern states, who were the last who wanted to leave the Confederate. But when there were more families, there were more fathers in the home, there was more class and style about Black families after slavery. Yeah. So when did it get broke up and chopped up at? Because our guy, Thomas Sowell speaks about it so clearly. He talks about how in the 20s and on up, we had families. There were no gunshots. I mean, of course, there may have been a smaller percentage of hood and all that mindset, but
that's what I was going to say. There's always a percentage of this. Like there's always even when we were coming from Africa, right? there were a big percentage of lower class Africans, but there were a percentage of higher class Africans too, which is still to this day. And in this country, it shows that you have lower class black and you have middle class and you have high class black. There's still a class tier system, but the thing is, the low level stands out so much that you don't even see the middle and the high class, because the low class shines some more with so many ridiculous antics.
And we know that there is that type of culture in every ethnic group, just like she said. I agree completely. And remember when I said, when you saw these snatch and grabs, who do you see?
Yeah, that was
who does the media make sure that they see in the snatch and grab process?
Yeah.
Us. And it's us and it's our young people.
Yeah.
Now, there were a couple of videos where I saw some other groups, but they ain't the majority, boo.
No.
They might be down there low key doing what they do, but I guarantee you, in these malls, in these news clips, go back and look from even a couple of years ago when the whole stuff started jumping off, it's still us. And I'm thinking, do y'all actually think that you're really going to get away with this in the long run? They setting you up for something greater, but you're just so stupid because you got to have things and too trifling to get out here and go and work for it or start you a business. It's 2024, so I just don't understand why you have to make these decisions. But yes, it does look bad, and I don't care what people say. It has, if we are not the ones to address it and say something about it, who else is? Who else is? So keep on speaking. And anybody else that's black has that feels, and it's many and many of us. It's not just a few. Oh, it's many and many of us, especially those who are working and want to leave legacies for our families and want to have our names be remembered in positive ways and set positive examples for your kids. Because living a life of crime ain't the way.
No.
Ain't the way.
No.
And that defeats the whole purpose of what our ancestors sacrificed and experienced and went through and tried to build for us to do things a certain way.
Yeah.
Even the black slave owners who had black slaves were still showing you some form of wealth. We're still showing you a form that they had acquire money legally and purchase slaves and had houses and then was feeding them and crops and all the good and all that stuff. So what is you saying?
So there's always a high, a middle, and a low. But the low is emphasized. Low white isn't emphasized. Low Indian isn't emphasized. Low Asian class isn't emphasized. But low black stands out.
It's absolutely ridiculous. I have never seen anything like it in the generation of artists. It's very few that I listen to.
And it's so crazy.
I can't take it.
Like, let's say to some of the ladies that she named, I'm not going to, shout out their name, but let's say some of the ladies that she named, they came in with the low class, got big. Now they live in high class while everybody else, the people who still following them, still living low. Now they live in the big houses, got the bread, but you living like this based on you didn't elevate it. They elevated and talked about this this ghetto stuff, but now they not living ghetto no more. They don't have to.
Well, maybe not materially.
Yeah, I might be up here, but financially, they got their mama out certain houses, and now they put you in certain neighborhoods.
Mindset-wise, it's still low because ain't nothing cute and sexy about looking ratchet. I'm sorry, and not a doggone thing. If you want to have as much work done as you want to, go right on.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
But it still have some class and style about it.
Yeah.
Cover yourself. Don't nobody want to see all that. It's between you and your man. You and what you do. But there's nothing attractive. I mean, who wants to look at a video? I mean, it's just like, absolutely, like she said, it's gross. I'm sorry, I cannot.
All right, y'all. 2024, be more.
Talk less.
We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.